Hello, my name is Brian Friedland, and welcome to another episode of Inside the GSC. In the 2025 GSC Softball Championship, I am interviewing Ashlan Sensing, a senior pitcher for Trevecca Nazarene. Ashlan is a D2 CCA All-American and a CSC Academic All-American. She will talk about Trevecca's first season in the conference, how she maintains a good work-life balance, and more. All right, another edition of Inside the GSC. Today, I am joined by one of the premier pitchers in the Gulf South Conference, Ashlan Sensing of first-year member, Trevecca Nazarene. Ashlan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll start digging into this one. Before we get started, just want to see how's your senior season been going? I know we're heading into the final week of the regular season now. So how's it been going, and how do you feel going in postseason play?
I think our season's been going pretty good for the most part. We've came from a conference that may have not been as tough, and we've been into a tougher conference, but I think from our first game in Gulf South to now, we've grown a lot, just like as a team, on the field, off the field. Just keep putting in the work to be the best. Now is the time we need to capitalize because we're going into conference tournament. So I think that we're getting to the point now where hopefully we're getting to our top point, which is where we kind of want to be right now.
For sure. And so without further ado, we'll start digging into your background a little bit. So just wanted to see, how'd you get into softball in the first place? And did you always know that you wanted to play at the collegiate level?
My sister played softball, and so, as a kid, I was always like, oh, I want to be just like my sister. I want to be the multi-sport athlete. I want to do all of the softball stuff, and so got into softball when I think I started t-ball probably like 6, and then I started playing travel softball at the age of 8 and for a little local team where I was from. And I think at that time, I kind of knew that I always wanted to go to play college ball. One thing I knew about myself, though, is when I got a little older playing travel ball is that I never wanted to go to a really big school. That just wasn't I didn't think that fit for me at the time. And so I always looked at Division II schools, specifically Trevecca. And so I think going in from club ball, I came from a high school that those kids that went to college out of high school there for athlete or being different sports, but when I got into club softball, that really helped me open up my eyes to all the different colleges that I could attend. And I always knew that I kind of wanted to stay local to my hometown. I didn't want to go too far from my family, and so I started coming to camps at Trevecca when I was 12. So I started that off young, and from the minute I walked on to the field with those girls, there was something about the culture of the team. They shared the same values, they shared the same goal, and that was being a winner. And so I think from the second that I walked onto this campus at 12 years old, that I was Trevecca's my place. I knew it. It's a Christian campus. Our motto here is Christian Scholar Athlete, and so I knew that being a Christian was a big part of it. They always put our grades first. And so I knew that that's something that I looked into when I was choosing this school specifically.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so Trevecca was always in the plans, I guess.
It was. Yeah, it was something that, I looked at other schools because you always have to have options.
Right,
I think you can't just put all your eggs in one basket, but I think it's important that I kept options open. But I was very adamant that I wanted to come here, and I was emailing the coach, this is, I think, where I want to be. And I just emailed him every chance I had to, so I knew that I would have the opportunity to play here.
That's awesome. And then you touched on your club softball experience a little bit. And I know when I was doing research, you got to play for your dad, right? So were there any lessons he kind of instilled in you? I know we had a guest on a couple months ago, Tommy Murr, who played basketball for his dad in high school.
Yeah.
I asked him similar question where it's did they try instilling anything in you? Or is there kind of this Coach Carter dynamic where it's it's my daughter, she doesn't get special treatment, she just treated the same as everyone else?
Yeah, he was definitely like that. He wasn't going to give any handouts. He told me that the only way I could, if I was going to play, then I had to earn that position. And I think that didn't just make me a great athlete, but it makes me a great person because it's a life lesson that I learned from him. He spent many hours on the bucket with me, and so that was the thing. He was there's always one thing you can control, and that's your attitude and your effort. And he was that's something you can always give 100% at. And so I think that's something, not even as an athlete, but as a person that I can put into anything is that 100% at everything you do, and you'll always be the best you can be. He's like, you can't be upset with yourself if you gave it your all every single chance you had, like every single time you had the chance to. So I think that was probably the biggest thing that I took away from him, was that he's like, you can control a couple things, that's your attitude and your effort. He's like, honestly, if you're not going to give 100%, then what's the point of even, being out there? Because you need to give your 100%, not to just yourself, your team, your coaches, everything that you play for, even the sport.
For sure, and that's a big thing too. Like I had a coach in high school track who used to, his motto was always hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not putting in the effort every day and putting in that extra bit of work, because there's always going to be somebody that's hungrier than you that will put in the work. So that's always like a big thing, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely staying hungry to be the best. I wouldn't want to step out on the field if I wasn't going to give 100% to myself, the girls, in the sport. So.
Right. And then, as we touched on in the beginning, so this is Trevecca's first year in the conference, and you touched on it a little bit in your first response. So what has been some of the differences that you've been able to see from going from the GMAC to now being in the Gulf South Conference?
I think like some of the biggest things that I noticed specifically is like when I'm pulling them onto these campuses, they're huge compared to what we came from. So I would assume like the resources are a lot different than the smaller schools that we played. But for the most part, I think that we kind of stepped in and we weren't for sure what we were expecting coming from the GMAC. And I think that we've handled it well for the most part. I mean, we're going to conference tournament, so I guess that's a big thing to go straight into the conference and make it to conference play at the end of the season. But I think that was one of our main goals we talked about as a team at the beginning of the year, was like, hey, we're going into a new conference. We're not 100% sure what to expect, but let's have one goal. Let's make that to conference tournament. And then from there, we can set our new goals. So I think that I'm very proud of our team because we're also a younger team. We lost some starters last year. We gained a lot of freshmen this year, and they're starting. And so I think that as a young team, we set that one goal, and that was to make it to conference play. And now that we've made it to conference play, we have to talk about, let's try to make it, out of conference play. Let's give it our all in conference play. We made it, though, So I was kind of proud of our team for that.
For sure, for sure. It's definitely a huge accomplishment to be able to step in right away and say, hey, we're here now. We're the new kids on the block. We got this.
Yeah, I think we kind of had a small target on our back when we came in because we had a great run last year. And so to come in, I think everybody was like, if we're going to beat somebody, let's beat Trevecca. But I think we've handled our own pretty well. So
there you go. Yeah, and then so also just want to dive into a little bit more on the background of your training when, because obviously you didn't get to where you are by not training.
Right.
So what does off-season training normally look like for you? Are you studying film? Are there certain drills that you're going through? Are you working out with like teammates, or are you able to stay on campus? Or is it I know like some sports, it's like you have to do stuff off of campus. So how does that work for you?
So in the summer when I'm at home, I pitch to my dad a lot, or I have a teammate who's where I'm from, so I got to pitch to her a lot, and we work together. But I do stay on campus, and so most of my training does occur on campus, working out a few times a week, being down at the field. I at least like to throw 3 times a week. When I was younger, I used to throw 5 times a week, so 3 times a week is very doable now. But here I normally do all of my work at the field, and training is normally on campus.
And are there any, just following up to that, are there any pitchers that you're studying from other schools or professionally that kind of help you out, or is it just kind of like you're your own person and you're like, I'm not trying to be anybody else?
I've looked into looking at other pitchers, learning from them, and I think that pitching has a lot to do with what works best for you. And so I had the same pitching coach my whole life since I was 8 years old, and she's put a lot into me, and she's like a very big power. She's like, let's get your power, get you throwing the ball hard. And then when I came here, I learned a lot more about spin. Obviously, she taught me spin work and stuff like that. But I think as a pitcher, and just looking at every other pitcher, everybody has a different windup. Everybody has a different release point. Everybody holds the ball for the same pitch differently. And so I think when you're younger, there's a lot of play with that to see what works best for you. And so I think it's good to look into other pitchers, but then you have to know yourself and what's going to be best for you while you're on the field.
Right, for sure, for sure. And then also too, just being a pitcher, and I know you get a chance to hit sometimes too. So it's like, you're constantly like your body is getting taxed physically. And so I was wondering, and a lot of it too, like I know in softball it's not as big with Tommy John, but there's still like
Yeah.
elbow injuries that happen here and there. It's
Right.
just not as crazy, 'cause not as much pressure. But how do you kind of diversify your training so that you're not constantly overworking your pitching arm during the off season?
I think it's like knowing your body, and so
Right.
obviously when we come off this season, our coaches want us to have a little rest because we threw a lot of innings. But I think that I talked to our trainer here, our athletic trainer, and she was like, I don't think that like just completely not doing anything would be best for your arm. And so she was like, I don't want you to cold turkey anything. I want you to maybe not, throw every single day, but maybe just keep your arm moving a little bit. So I think that's something that this past summer with my athletic trainer that she taught me that actually worked best for me was not just like completely stopping. And so with training, I think it's like knowing my limits. Like if my arm starts to bother me for a couple of days or something, I know to kind of back off a little bit. But for the most part, knock on wood, I don't have many issues going on with my arm, and so I think I just kind of take it day by day and see how it feels the day of, and just knowing when to pitch throughout the week, so I'm not tired when game time comes around.
Right. I feel like rest is such a big thing too, because it's like you can train so much, but it's like if you're constantly working that same muscle group, I feel like in the long run, it's not going to be beneficial.
Right.
So you see like so many athletes, like I think like CJ Stroud from the Texans does like, it was, I think he does like some like baseball workouts or basketball, like something like that, where it's like, it's just something different so that you're not like sitting there and just doing the same motion like the
Right.
entire off season. And then so I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about you've broken a number of different records, whether it be program, whether it be at the national level. I mean, you've had a pretty storied career at Trevecca. And so I've kind of been wondering what has motivated you to get to this point? Because obviously, as we touched on already a bunch, it didn't get here like that. It was
Right.
a process. So
Yeah, I think just even starting back from the young age, my dad, my mom, they both pushed me to be the best I could be. And then, each my freshman year to sophomore year, you set goals for yourself. And so looking at my freshman stats at the end of the year, I'm like, okay, this coming up year, I want to do this better. And I want to beat this goal that I didn't do my freshman year. And so I think that like setting little goals for yourself, also, the girls behind me, I couldn't break all those records. I couldn't be that pitcher if I didn't have the 8 girls on the field behind me, the girls who hit, the girls who were my biggest supporters. And so I think that I think it's really cool that I broke the records, but at the end of the day, like none of that's possible without my teammates, my coaches who put like countless hours in, to make sure that we're the best we can be. And so I think a lot of that also goes to my teammates.
there you go. That's a great mentality to have. There's no I in team, so that's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel like too, like it's in baseball, softball, whatever. Like there's always like like somebody's pitching a no hitter. I know I mentioned it. I'm not supposed to mention it, but like there's always some like huge play. So it's like it's so important to have teammates that are always backing you up, and you back them up too. Because I mean, if you're mowing people down at the plate, then it makes their jobs a lot easier too.
Right. I think that we have a lot of trust on the field with each other, and I think that's something that any pitcher can take away is that, you have to have those girls' backs. They'll have your backs. I think it's just like communication thing. Hey, knowing if something happens, like saying, I got you, I'll pick you up or something like that. I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned, even like my past couple of years here and just coming from my freshman year, is that the girls have to trust you. You have to trust them. If you're cheering them on, it's going to be so much easier for them to cheer you on. So I think that's like there's a communication that you have to establish, or trust you have to establish, in which that doesn't come obviously within your first year or your first few months of playing with the girls. It takes a little bit, but I think that that's what helps build the team, is like having the trust between the girls, the communication that everybody is just as happy for somebody to be out there as if they would if it was another person out there.
Right, for sure, for sure. And now, so we've touched a little bit on your playing career. Now we'll dive into you as a student, because obviously you're more than just an athlete. So
Right.
you're a nursing major. What made you want to get into that field? And I know it's senior year, and I never like bringing this up with people if they're not sure. But what are the plans looking like for post grad, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so I think that when I first came here, I was a nursing major, and then I kind of switched around to exercise science for a little bit, and then I went back to nursing. And I think I chose nursing just because a lot of those people are in their most vulnerable times, and I think that like I like to think I'm a pretty happy person, so like I would want to do anything to keep it happy for them, to heal them, to do what I can to make them better, to help them, get out of wherever facility they're in. And so I think that that's kind of why I chose nursing. And then when it comes to like what I want to do after, I'm not 100% yet. I kind of think I want to be in an outpatient facility. I kind of want to do surgery clinic. And
Okay.
I'm really interested in ortho, but I think that's from the athlete side of it, is that why I'm interested in that. But I kind of want to do maybe like pre-op or PACU.
Okay, that's interesting. And then and did COVID have any impact on you wanting to get into nursing in the first place? Because I know, like, you talked about a little bit, like, people are pretty vulnerable when things are somewhat normal, I guess you could say. But like during COVID, like that was pretty crazy. So was that inspiration where you're like, I kind of want to be able to help out people through this time? I can't right now, but I can at least help people down the line.
I think it did a little bit. I still wasn't 100% sure at that time that I wanted to be a nurse. But I think that nursing and all doctors had like a big play in COVID and helping those people. And so I definitely think that that kind of impacted it, that I chose to, that I want to help people and help heal them and do what I can for their health.
Gotcha. And obviously, you're balancing a lot of things throughout all of this. You have to do clinic hours for nursing. You have practice. You have to go to class. So how do you balance all of this?
It's been a challenge the past couple years, like actually being in nursing school, but my coaches they've been helpful. We've had to give a little on the softball side for the nursing side and give a little on the nursing side for the softball side. I had to get a lot of clinical hours in this semester for one of my classes, and so I think that was probably the hardest thing, is that I would have to come and then I would get off, and then I would have to go pitch after. And so I think that kind of comes down to how bad you want it to. I didn't have to pitch at 7:30 at night, but I want to be a winner and I want my team to be successful. So I think that coming home from clinicals and just having to go do practice after was something that I signed up for, and I was okay with that I chose to, maybe if I miss a practice I'm going to make it up somehow.
Right, and I feel like too with sports, it's such like it's kind of therapeutic, where it's like if you're not like putting so much pressure on yourself, like it's like you can sit there and be like, okay, like class was stressful, but at least I got practice afterwards.
Right.
I feel like some of it is like just having that added perspective in there.
Yeah, using softball is kind of like an outlet. It's
Right.
like that's the place that you walk onto the field and you let everything else go and you just focus on this for a little bit, and it's a happy time. So I think it definitely worked as a good outlet for me my 4 years here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then following up to that, obviously it can be pretty mentally taxing when you're pitching at a high level. You're going through all the clinical stuff. And so we are getting close to May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I was wondering, how important is it to you to kind of stay on top of your mental health throughout your collegiate career?
I think it's just knowing yourself, knowing when you're mentally exhausted, when to take that break, what should I do about it, and whether that's, you have a friend you talk to about stuff, or, opening up the Bible and looking, things like that. And so I think that it's just like I have to know myself. I need to know when I need to give myself a mental break, but also like when to push through something as well too.
For sure. And then, so you've been named an All-American by several outlets, but you're also an academic All-American. So how important of a role has education played throughout your life or collegiate career, either one?
I think that like growing up, everybody, your parents want you to have good grades, and so I think that was one of the things. But like I just show up every day to class, and like I try to get it done. I try to stay on top of things, but I think that helped me as an athlete. And whereas like the time management as an athlete helped me with schooling, and I think that just making good grades was like something that I couldn't imagine not doing. And so like whether that meant that I had late nights or early mornings, I did what I could, to keep my grades up, and also get to practice and be the best that I can be, for the sport as well.
For sure, for sure. And now, so we dug into a little bit with you as a person. Now we'll segue a little bit. We touched on it before, where the Gulf South Conference softball championships are coming up soon. So this is Trevecca's first year, as we talked about before. But I was wondering, have you heard anything about the tournament in the past and have any expectations going into it?
I haven't looked too much into the past of the tournament, but I think that like just from my perspective is like we go out there, we give it our all, whatever happens. I think if we can give 100% and we win at all the aspects of the game, then we can win at the end of it. I have full faith that we can win it all, and I think that we just have to go out there and prove it, play the best that we can play, because this is the time right now where we have to be at our top, be the best we can be. So I think if we go out there and do that, I think that we could definitely win.
There you go. You got me ready to run for a brick wall. I'm not even playing. So there you go.
Yeah.
And then, so I know in baseball, like any sport for that matter, there are superstitions. I know in baseball, there's don't touch the foul lines before the game. Don't mention a no-hitter to somebody if they're pitching one. Right. So is that similar in softball? And do you specifically have any rituals or pregame traditions that you do where you're like, all right, gotta like put on my socks this way or else I'm not going to have 9 strikeouts today or whatever?
We definitely have the same superstition of, don't touch the foul line. You can't mess up the chalk. I'm sure we have more that I just can't think of. For me, I've always had my hair in double braids since I was in high school, and that's something that I will never get away from, I don't think. So, and then like if I do good one game, I'm probably gonna keep the same routine before. Like we play hacky sacks. Like some of us are like we always have to touch the hacky sack. That's just like part of our before game rituals. But I think my biggest one is my hair. My hair has been the same since I was in high school.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right.
For sure. So now we'll dive into some fun rapid fire questions. I do have a couple that are going to be teammate centered. So first question is, if you had to pick a teammate, who would you pass the aux cord to? You're picking a song in the car. Who's getting the aux cord first?
Sarah Kinderdine.
Okay. And why her?
Well, I would just pass it to her because she kind of made a playlist for our team, and I always think it's really good. So I'm going to give it to her and let her play like our pregame playlist.
There you go. What's on the pregame playlist, if you don't mind me asking?
There's a bunch of different options. Most of it's country. We have some of our favorite Christian songs on there, and I'm sure there's other kinds I just can't think of.
There you go. And then, so if you had to have one teammate cook a 3-course meal for you, who would you choose and why?
Maddie Poschke. She's like our big meal prep girl, so I know she can cook.
There you go. Got to have some variety in there. It can't just be all chicken and rice.
Right. Yeah, she always has a variety every week.
There you go. And then, so which teammate has the best taste in, it could be either movies or TV shows. So like if you're having like a movie night or a TV watching party, who's getting to pick the movie or TV show?
Probably Annabelle.
Okay. And why her?
She likes the more like classic kid movies, and I'm always down to watch a movie from a childhood.
There you go. And then, so obviously Nashville, while it's a music city, it's also, it's a pretty big tourist destination. So, and I've never been there before actually. So if you were recommending to me or anybody else going there, what are the top 3 places you would say are must visits when you're in Nashville?
I like the Music City Hall of Fame. I've been to that. That was pretty cool. Top 3. There's a place called Uncle Bud's. It's near the airport. It has really good fish and chicken. So they're there. And then I don't know if I can think of a third one. I don't know. I'd try not to go out too. I don't go out too much. Like I'm not very familiar with everything around here either.
Gotcha. Well, you got your priorities straight, so it's all good. It's all good. But all right, so when I'm in Nashville, I'll go to Music City Hall of Fame and then Uncle Bud's. I'll have to keep my eyes out for those. Awesome. And then, so Ashlan, we'll wrap it up with that, but I appreciate you coming on today. This was great to hear and get to know a little bit more about you as a person and as an athlete and just keeping your head down and keep moving forward. So appreciate talking to you and best of luck in the tournament next week.
Thank you so much.
I hope you all enjoyed our interview today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe wherever content can be found. Stay tuned for what we have in store next time on Inside the GSC.